Hi everyone! Today we are going to be doing the end of year book tag. Now obviously I am pre-filming this before the end of the year, so some of these might not be like 100% accurate because we haven't finished the year out, but I do feel like these will stick. So let's just get right into it. So the first question is most disappointing book of the year. This one was definitely hard for me because I don't go into books with like high expectations that when I read it I'm like really disappointed by it, but I would definitely say Moonstone. And I think what disappointed me about this one was because obviously I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I went into it thinking, oh, it's about werewolves, I'm going to love it, all that stuff. I think I overhyped it in my head, but also I have a special edition that I really love, and I mean I'm going to keep the special edition because I love it. But when you go into a book really hyping it up in your head because you think you're going to like it because of something else, and then when you read it, it's not like what you thought it was going to be, and it, you know, all that stuff, it can be quite disappointing. So Moonstone is definitely probably my most disappointing one of the year. Next question is underdog book of the year. So I'm taking this as a book that you went into not expecting much and ended up loving it type thing. And with this, mine is Shameless, Reckless and Breathless by Lex Martin. Oh my goodness, I was shocked by this because I went into it thinking, oh, you know, it's going to be like a nice quick easy read, it's like a new author, has some of my favorite tropes, it's going to be good. Went into it with all 3 books being 5 stars. Like, I absolutely love this series. I devoured it in like 2-3 days. It was so good and I was generally surprised, and I just love it when you go into a book not expecting much and it comes out being a 5-star. Like, that is such an amazing feeling. And then for this one I also have We Used to Live Here. This one I went into because it was hype. I wasn't really expecting much. I was expecting like a normal mystery thriller, but oh my goodness, this was so different from what I normally read when it comes to mystery thrillers. This was so good because with We Used to Live Here, they include Morse code and it gives you something to like try and work out as you're reading the book, and it uncovers like this mystery message, and that was like my favorite part of this. It really added to the experience. Not only that, but what the book was about and following the story, and you was generally confused the whole time of like what was happening and you just wanted to know what was going on. It was so good. Then we have a book that was overhyped. I really struggled with this one as well because I don't really read books that are like overhyped. Well, actually I read a lot of books that are overhyped. I'm just about to lie to you accidentally, but I always end up liking them myself. But I think with this one I chose Booked on a Feeling. This one was more popular about 2-3 years ago. It had its moment, but it was like everywhere, and that is why I chose to add it onto my TBR. I only read it this year and this one was definitely very disappointing for me. I wasn't what I was expecting, and I do feel like it was way overhyped. It shouldn't have had the hype that it got, but I think this was definitely more hyped on TikTok, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of makes sense. Then we have a favourite book couple, and I really struggled with this one just because I feel like there were so many, especially from my 5-star reads, I really enjoyed. But for this one I chose Rowan and Eliana from The Nanny Off Limits. I just love these two together. I love these characters. I feel like the characters as well was like so well done within the book. You got to know them. I don't know, I'm just obsessed. I can't stop like thinking about them or the book. Absolutely love. Then we have favourite main character. Again, I struggled with this one as well. I decided to go with Skylar from Wild Eyes. Again, another 5-star read from me. You kind of see a pattern going on here. I just felt like she was such a strong character. She kept to who she is, even though she had a career, she was famous, she's a songwriter. She kept to who she is no matter what, and I just love that, you know. Love a strong female character. A book that surprised you. For this one I chose One Dark Window, and that's just because with me, I'm not a big fantasy reader. If you know me, I do read fantasy. I've read quite a bit of fantasy this year actually, but like it's not something I normally lean towards. But with One Dark Window I was surprised because I loved it. Like, I generally love this book so much. Probably like my second favourite fantasy book from Fourth Ring, which says a lot. This one was so good. The characters were amazing. Just everything about this book was amazing, without me rambling on about it too much. New favourite author you discovered in 2025. For me, this would be Lex Martin. New favourite author. I will definitely be reading more books by them because I was, like I said, generally surprised when it came to Shameless, Reckless and Breathless. The fact that I went into it thinking it was going to be like, oh, okay, read, like I'm going to like it, but it came up being 5 stars. Love it. I just love when that happens. Happiest read of the year, and for this one I was like, well, one of my 5-star reads would have been my happiest. I didn't know if that's what this question meant, or is it like generally a happy book, but I took it as 5-star read, favourite read, that was like my happiest, and that's the way I've took it. And so I chose The Nanny Off Limits. I would definitely say this is my favourite book that I've read this year. I can't stop thinking about it. It was so good. I don't know why. I think it's just because like I love the characters. QB Tyler's one of my favourite authors. I love the trope, like my favourite trope, you know, it's just like my perfect book. But that was definitely the happiest book for me. Then we have most frustrating book of the year, and for me I would say this was Off Limits, which was the first book I read for the year, but also my first DNF of the year, my first book of the year. Like, this was so frustrating to me because it was terrible. Like, the writing just wasn't good. What this was about just wasn't good. Like, it really disturbed me. This is supposed to be like a stepfather romance. Now, that doesn't bother me normally if it's done right, but this was just done in like a very predatorial way, and I just couldn't. I got to 80%. I don't even know how I got to 80%, but I got to 80% and I was like, I can't. I was determined not to have my first read of the year a DNF, but I generally could not continue on it. It was like, it was that bad. So that is why it's the most frustrating to me. Then we have best adaptation of the year, and I haven't really watched many adaptations. I feel like unless I'm missing them, there haven't been many adaptations. I have chose Our Fault, which is the third book from Our Fault, and then also season 3 of The Summertime Pretty. Those are the ones I chose. The longest book you read this year, and for me that was Alchemized. This is definitely the longest book I've read so far, by far. And then the shortest book you've read this year, and that would be Mary. This is only 7 pages, and you're thinking, 7 pages, what's the point? This was kind of having its moment on TikTok for a little bit as like the shortest but like mind-boggling craziest book, and I was intrigued, obviously, and oh my goodness, for 7 pages this definitely left its mark in my brain. Because what, I suggest you go and read it. If you haven't, then you'll know what I'm talking about, because this is wild. Especially for 7 pages, it definitely leaves its mark, because it's like, what are you talking about, you know? Then we have favourite book cover. Now, this one wasn't really that hard for me. That would be the Fairy Loot editions of the Chestnut Spring series. I brought these copies this year, and they're like definitely my favourite books I own, the prettiest books I own, best covers. It was the easiest by far for this question. Then we have a book you haven't stopped thinking about, and I think I've already kind of answered this one, The Nanny Off Limits. I was really trying my hardest not to have repeats for these questions, but it was very hard. I'm not gonna lie, I found it very hard because I was really focusing on like my 5-star reads, you know, and especially The Nanny Off Limits, one of my favourite books of the year so far, definitely. Then we have the cringiest book you've read so far this year. I did definitely find this one hard, but I did decide to choose Off Limits again, because Off Limits was by far the worst book I've read this year, and I didn't even finish it. So, and then we have unpopular book that you love. Now, this one I chose Reckless by Lex Martin, just because this one definitely, I feel like the series isn't popular. I haven't heard anyone else talking about it, but this is the second book in the series, and I feel like it was by far my favourite, and that's why I chose this one specifically. But so good, and it needs to be more hyped. Like, this needs to be more popular. More people need to know about this book, so if you haven't read it yet, please, trust me, go read it. Then we have highest and lowest book you read on Goodreads, and do you agree? So for this, the highest book on Goodreads was Fourth Wing. This was a reread for me this year, but this has a 4.75, and I would definitely agree with this one, especially with it being my favourite fantasy book, 5 stars, absolutely love. I love Fourth Wing, my obsession, you know. So I 100% agree with this. It should be a 4.57. It should actually be higher, but I get why it's not. And then the lowest is Mary with a 2.54. This one I do not agree with. I do feel like it should be a little bit higher. I'm not saying it has to be like on Fourth Wing level of like a 4 point something. 2.54 is really low, but that's just because it's not a popular book. It should be. I know it's only 7 pages, but like I said, it definitely leaves ingrained in your brain of like, oh, what did I just read type thing, and it's only 7 pages. If a book can do that in 7 pages, you know it's a good book, you know. So I definitely think that this one should be higher. This book should be more popular because it's so good. Favorite quotes of the year, and again, I found this one hard. The ones I chose was from the book Sin With Me by Brooke Montgomery, which is also another 5-star read for me this year. Absolutely love the series, this book. I could go on about it all day. And there was actually 2 quotes from this book that I love and that I had to highlight while reading, and that is, "I will love you through every storm the same way you've done for me." It hits you right in the heart, you know what I'm saying? And then we also have, "If there's one thing I've learned about life so far, it's that the unexpected parts are the most fun." That is literally a quote that I take day by day with me. It is like ingrained in there. It is so good. So those are my 2 favourite quotes. And then we have a book with the most unique concept. Again, I chose Mary. I know I keep choosing the same books, but like I said, it's very hard to choose differently. And this is just because maybe not so much as, yeah, the concept, it has a unique concept, but also like it leaves you thinking, what did I just read type thing. And that's kind of why I chose it, for the unique concept. And then we have a book you would reread, and for me, I couldn't just choose one. I had to choose 3 of my 5-star reads from this year, and that is Sin With Me, Wild Eyes, and of course The Nanny Off Limits. Are we surprised? And then reading goal reflection and 2025 reading goals. Now, I haven't really sat down and thought about this too much. I would say a reading goal reflection that I had this year is, I really wanted to be like, not put pressure on hitting my reading goal, but also not have pressure in reading a lot. So I wanted to read less, not put pressure on my reading goal of like having to hit it. I also really wanted to make it so that I'm not reading for things or for like challenges and stuff. I failed that massively, because if you haven't been with me for too long, I did a 60 books in 60 days and 75 books in 75 days all in 1 year, which is wild to me. I have not long finished the 75 books in 75 days one. So I really massively failed that, because constantly all year I've been thinking I need to do 60 books in 60 days. Then it was I need to do the 75 books in 75 days. Then it's also I need to read my unwrapped books. I need to read books for this video. I need to do that. Like, I was never really mood reading, and there was a little short time, a week, where I let myself mood read, and I did a video on that, and I would say that's probably the only time I've mood read this whole year. So massively failed on that reading goal. To add on to 2026 reading goal, I said 2025 I think, but I meant 2026 reading goal, it would definitely be to mood read. So my reading goal for 2026, I haven't really thought about. I really want to make it lower so that I'm not focusing on numbers too much, because I do feel like I'm very bad with that. I focus on numbers. Like, if my goal is 250 like it was this year, I would want to hit that 250. Like, last year I read 450 something, and then the year before that I read 300 and something. So I've definitely read a lot less than I have the 2 previous years. That doesn't bother me. I always have to hit the goal that I set though, and I'm really determined with that, and I can't get my brain away from it. So I was thinking of doing something that I know I can hit, so that I can just mood read and not focus on that number. And then finally we have, what are you prioritizing in 2026 with your reading goal? And what I'd be hoping to prioritize is just mood reading. I really want to prioritize that. I don't want to keep thinking I need to read this for this video, I need to read this for this video, and I need to cut down on the massive challenges. Like, in 2026 currently, as I sit here and I say, I don't plan on doing a massive challenge in 2026 where I read so many books in so many days. I do plan to do a challenge, like challenges where, like I've said for my 75 books in 75 days thing, I do plan to do it where I will do like a week's worth of reading off my physical TBR. That's fine. That isn't putting like so much pressure. It's fun to do challenges every now and then, but not every single day of the year, not all the time 24/7, where I'm not leaving room for mood reading. And that's why I feel like I have been in such a massive reading slump this year, and I haven't been enjoying most of the books that I've read. Like, I don't really have many 5-star reads, and I also really don't remember many books, like information about books that I've read. And obviously I would like to change that. I really want to start mood reading, so that'll be my main focus, my main priority in 2026. That is the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and leave this emoji if you're watching to the end, and hope to see you on my next one. Bye.